We are Group 20 and our company type is Highway Hotel. A highway hotel is focused on providing the basic needs to their guests, a bed. Guests will probably not expect outstanding service and facilities. We will tell something about the topics facility management, quality management, service management, supply chain management, and finally, capacity management. Facility management is occupied with directing and controlling the supporting activities needed to execute the primary activity of the organization. The primary activity of a highway hotel is offering rooms to guests. There are several things needed in order to do it. The physical things needed are a building divided into separate rooms, beds, bathrooms, etc. The rooms in a highway hotel are often very small, so the space is used in an efficient manner. Another very important thing for a highway hotel is that there is a proper parking lot. A highway hotel offers only the facilities needed to meet guests' needs. The most important site selections for a highway hotel are 1. Accessibility. A highway hotel should be easy to reach because people shouldn't have to be traveling 20 minutes into a village to reach the hotel. 2. Visibility. People should be aware that there is a highway hotel nearby, so hotels should advertise a couple of kilometers before the location. 3. Travel patterns. If there are, for example, truck drivers who travel the same route many times per year, the hotel can count on them returning at certain moments. Two important terms of facility management are the menuscape and the servicescape. The menuscape is the physical and psychological setting in which manufacturing is organized and delivered. It focuses on the process and throughput of materials, the operations management environment or back of house. A highway hotel has a fixed position layout, since the hotel is in a fixed place and the customers need to come to the hotel in order to use the service. The servicescape is the physical and psychological setting in which a service experience is organized and delivered. It focuses on service experience and perception or front of house. The front of house in a highway hotel is often very simple and standardized. The space is used in the most efficient way possible. Quality management is especially important in the growth phase of the service life cycle. Highway hotels are in a maturity stage right now, but that doesn't mean that quality management isn't important anymore. A highway hotel should offer a certain standard of quality, but since quality is subjective and the expectations of the guest change with time and experience, it can be very hard to live up to everyone's expectations. However, the price guests pay is too low to expect great quality, as you would expect in, for example, a chain hotel. If you want guests to come back to your hotel, the quality level should be maintained over time. Whereas a 5-star chain hotel would focus on high quality in all the departments, a highway hotel should focus on the core product, a clean and comfortable room. The quality can be tested and measured by quality control, which are processes designed to monitor operations in order to maintain quality. Not only quality control is needed, also quality assurance, which basically says get it right the first time, every time. Quality assurance includes a set of quality standards, for example HACCP and ISO 9000. In highway hotels, these processes will be less complicated than in chain hotels. But this does not mean that quality is of less importance for highway hotels. They only offer a different level of quality. Another important thing for a highway hotel is to maintain a good price-quality ratio. To do this, hotels need to take into account that quality also has its costs. Using the PEF model, the hotels can take prevention costs, appraisal costs and failure costs into account. The prevention costs are about preventing defects before they occur. For example, setting quality control systems into place or make sure the employees are trained well enough. In a highway hotel, an example would be the check-in procedure, making sure that employees can handle it quickly on a high level of quality. Appraisal costs are about identifying defects before the guests find out. For example, in the kitchen, when the chef completes a final check before the food will be served to the guests. In a highway hotel, these costs will probably be minimal, since it is all about simplicity and there is not always a restaurant in a highway hotel. Failure costs consist out of two different costs, internal and external. Internal failure costs are, for example, rework, the time and money you need to do something again if it does not have the quality the guest was expecting. External failure costs are, for example, poor word of mouth or loss of repeat business. In a highway hotel, this is important, since there are not many encounters with the guests. You only have a few minutes to impress them. The interaction between the customer and the service provider is called a service encounter. We think that in a highway hotel there are not that many service encounters, since the check-in often is quick and the service offered are standardized. To give an example, at Formula 1 hotels, sometimes there is no employee present at the reception, so guests have to check in themselves. Service failures are inevitable, also in highway hotels. Reasons for service failures could be new employees, technical breakdowns, and even first-time consumers may increase service failure rates. For example, if a guest comes to the highway hotel for the first time, he might expect a higher level of service than provided. How important is service recovery in a highway hotel? Since most people don't expect much service, there won't be that many service failures. For example, if the room isn't clean and you go to the reception, they will probably offer you another room. There is only a small chance that they will offer a discount, because the price is already quite low. Of course, there need to be procedures for service recovery, but they won't be as important and much used as in a chain hotel. To prevent queuing, there should be sufficient employees at the work floor during peak hours. In a highway hotel, you would often find single line queues, since there are not that many guests at the same time, so one employee can handle it. Although many highway hotels don't have a restaurant, there are other things that they need suppliers for. For example, the linen, security, Wi-Fi, housekeeping, etc. The number of suppliers can vary quite widely per industry and company, but we think that a highway hotel uses single sourcing. This means obtaining all of one type of product or service from one supplier. Since highway hotels are very basic, they do not handle special requests. For example, receiving a certain type of pillow or room service is not possible in highway hotels. This also means that they don't need multiple suppliers for one product. They only have one supplier for all the pillows. An organization needs to know the likely customer demand for their goods and services on any given day, week, month or period, to ensure that they have sufficient resources to fulfill the demand. This could especially be important for highway hotels, since they are very dependent on the peak hours and they need to take variation into account. So they should keep in mind that during the peak hours they should have more staff available and more rooms ready to use. They could use forecasting by using or analyzing previous data and also taking into account other factors like the weather, so they can use a causal modeling method in order to do that. They have to make sure that they provide sufficient rooms, beds, linen and breakfast at the right time. It is difficult to predict the demand for a highway hotel because there will be a lot of no-shows, for example because of accidents, traffic jams, weather, roadworks, etc. Besides these no-shows, they also have unexpected guests who didn't make a reservation. A highway hotel should be prepared for that. Since highway hotel rooms are small and the layout of the building is efficient, they have a lot of capacity. This makes it easier to expand, because there will be less space needed to build 4 rooms compared to a chain hotel, which would use the same amount of space for maybe only 1 room. A highway hotel would use a chase demand strategy to manage capacity. This means that inputs are adjusted so that outputs matches demand. However, to do this, a highly effective reservation system or forecasting is needed. By using historical data, highway hotels can predict at what time of the year the demand is high and at what time the demand is low. A highway hotel should always be ready to receive more guests than expected. To cope with peak hours, a highway hotel could increase labor flexibility by, for example, hiring part-time staff that can be called up when they are needed, or by recruiting workers from the external labor market.